Hi, I'm Kamali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on NewsFeed today. Will the crimes committed against the Rohingya be investigated by an international tribunal? I am not Amsterdam, as a big sign comes down. The richest, most obnoxious YouTubers ranked 1 to 10. Prepare yourselves. And George Bush's dog is an internet hero as people remember the dead president. Well, at the top of our news feed, a US-based human rights group want an international tribunal to try and bring those responsible for the death and displacement of thousands of Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar, bring them to justice. Dave Grunebaum is in Yangon.
More pressure is coming from the international community on Myanmar's military. The Washington-based Public International Law and Policy Group says there is an urgent need for a criminal tribunal to bring perpetrators of atrocities against the Rohingya to justice. Now, this human rights law group was contracted by the U.S. State Department to investigate crimes against the Rohingya in Myanmar. It based its findings on interviews with more than 1,000 Rohingya refugees. Now, in its report, the group says there's reasonable grounds to believe Myanmar's military committed genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes. They're also pushing for the UN Security Council to impose an arms embargo as well as targeted sanctions. But political analysts say China and Russia will likely use their veto power in the Security Council to protect Myanmar. Now, inside Myanmar, most of the people continue to discredit the international narrative and deny that the military is responsible for such widespread crimes. The army has denied almost all of the allegations it's faced. Now, more than 700,000 Rohingya Muslims fled from Myanmar's western Rakhine state to neighboring Bangladesh in response to a counterinsurgency campaign. This came after attacks on security outposts by Rohingya militants in August of last year. But a few months ago, a UN fact-finding mission said that Myanmar's military also deliberately went after massive numbers of civilians with extrajudicial killings, rape, and burning down scores of Rohingya villages. Today's report is the latest push for a criminal tribunal, but most of the time when these calls come out, the Myanmar military and the civilian government seem to only dig in deeper in their place of opposition and denial.
A far-right party has been elected in southern Spain. They're anti-Muslim, anti-migrant, and have used rhetoric like Reconquista. That's when the Spanish expelled the Moors in the 17th century.
Los andaluces, una vez más, han hecho historia como tantas veces la han hecho a lo largo del tiempo y se han sacudido 36 años de régimen socialista, indicando a los españoles que eso también se puede hacer y con más facilidad en toda la nación.
No es inmigración lo que estamos sufriendo, es una invasión.
Okay, look now at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media.
Tighten up, let's go.
Oh, neck matter.
Now, the internet made two people with unique necks famous, and then the two of them did a collabo. Damn Long Neck, also known as Long Neck Guy, met Damn Wide Neck, also known as Wide Neck Guy, and millions have watched the moment. Now, both of these guys have huge followings on Instagram and make videos that I guess are meant to be funny. Most are not, but it tells you a lot about what is successful on social media. Hashtag All Necks Matter. Ariana Grande is breaking records on YouTube and Vivo with her video for the record Thank You Next. It was the most played video in 24 hours on both platforms, and as I speak it has over 101 million views and counting. It's about her breakups with Pete Davidson and Mac Miller. It has references to movies like Mean Girls and cameos from people like Kris Jenner. Oh, and it sounds on the face of it super saccharine, but it's really not that terrible, and the central message is about moving on from painful experiences, and that's a good message for the kids. The new trailer for Captain Marvel dropped overnight, and it's already done millions of views and spawned thousands of words of fan theory about what each scene signifies and how it fits into the Avengers and the MCU more widely. Now, as people want to know most of what they're getting before they get into the movies these days, there is exposition aplenty and plenty of the character's origin story, more than I'd want from a trailer, but hey, that's me. The movie stars Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson, and it looks like Jude Law is in it as her dad or uncle or something. It'll be out in March, so plenty more time for overly detailed and immensely popular trailers before then. Now, the dangers horses face when being raced are being discussed after reporting came out following last month's Melbourne Cup in Australia. Omar's been looking into it.
When you think of horse racing, you think fast-paced action, well-trained animals, fancy hats, glamorous outfits. But the sport has a dark side. In this year's Melbourne Cup, the Cliffs of Moher, a prize-winning horse had to be euthanized on the track after fracturing his shoulder, and it wasn't an isolated incident. He is the 6th horse to die in the Melbourne Cup since 2013. According to an animal rights group, a horse dies on an Australian racecourse every 3 days. This is not limited to Australia. 3 horses die on US racetracks every day.
What if all professional sports had this fatality rate? Imagine if 3 NFL players were killed every Sunday.
But why are racehorses dying at such alarming rates? First, there's the issue of age. Most horses start racing at the age of 2, and their skeletal systems are just not ready for that kind of stress. This 2-year-old was forced to race at an auction and broke down because her cannon bone snapped. In slow motion, you can see bone fragments exploding from her leg. Some of these young horses die before they even get to the racetrack, and many others sustain injuries. Animal rights groups such as PETA say horse racing may be too physically demanding for the horses, since they are forced to run at unnatural speeds. Horses are also whipped or illegally electrically shocked. A New York Times report even investigated the widespread use of buzzers by jockeys to push their horses beyond their limits. Horses often start to bleed from their lungs because of the speeds they go at. To decrease the bleeding, horses are giving Lasix, which also enhances performance. Drug abuse is a big problem. Horses are drugged with a cocktail of legal and illegal substances to mask injuries and artificially enhance their performance. Nero, a horse that finished 2nd in the 2011 Kentucky Derby, was forced to race on chronically painful, damaged feet. In 2013, Nero died at Churchill Downs after a severe bout of colic. A drug called thyroxine increases thyroid production and metabolism so the horses can run through the pain. There are even reports of amphetamines, alcohol, frog juice, and snake venom being injected into horses to gain an advantage on the track. Lack of uniformity in doping laws makes matters worse. Like in the US, where fatality rates are the highest, there's no national drug testing policies or enforcement, and it's left up to individual states to monitor drug use. So what happens to horses when they are injured beyond repair or can't race anymore? They're sent to slaughter. Royal with Speed once made $127,000 for his owners on the racetrack, but was sold for $350 to a kill buyer. Sold at livestock auctions, they are often sent to foreign slaughterhouses and kept in squalid conditions before being shot, and turned into meat for either human consumption or pet food. Animal rights activists are campaigning for speed restrictions, the elimination of whipping, mandatory drug testing, and rehabilitation for injured or old animals. But with owners determined to run the fastest horses, can the centuries-old sport ever become cruelty-free?
I Amsterdam, a sign that physically recreated the motto of the city's tourism board, has been removed from the spot outside of the Rijksmuseum. The Green Party, who are on the city council, said the sign was a symbol of exaggerated individualism, so people will have to find a new spot for their selfie in the dam.
The letters are here.
The last day that the letters are here, is that like a real thing, actually?
Yeah, tomorrow they are gone.
So I'm like the last person to climb on them, kind of?
Yeah.
Hey!
Around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Tuesday. Now, a week or so ago, a scientist in China claimed to have gene-edited a human embryo. The science community were furious at the step and skeptical that it had actually happened. Well, now that scientist is missing. His name is He Jiankui, and apparently he's not been seen since last Wednesday when he made the announcement. An old fella in the Netherlands wanted to legally change his age, but a court said he could not. He's 69 and called Emil Rattelbrand. He said he wanted to change his age to 49 for work and dating reasons. Yet he had argued that changing his age was the same as changing his gender, which the judge rightly ruled was rubbish. Now, two bits of news. Tumblr still exists and it's decided to ban pornography. Reporting says that Tumblr has always had a tolerant attitude when it came to adult material and tried to bring in a safe mood recently. It didn't work, and the app was banned from the Apple Store. This move is being seen as the latest example of the internet trying to self-regulate before real regulation comes in from governments. Well, the YouTube Rich List has been released, and once again, it's an all-male top 10, but the #1 spot may surprise you. And a warning, the following video starts with some abysmal rapping.
You ain't thankful for your fans, it's kinda funny. Do your investors know Team 10 ain't making any money? See, it starts with the talent.
Pew notes, everybody. Printers did an oopsie. Markiplier and Septicire did an oopsie.
Good morning, ladies. My name is Jacksepticeye, and welcome to Try Not to Cringe or Laugh, or I don't know. These always turn into one or the other. They're try not to cringe and try not to laugh.
Forwards the belt on. For the love of God, push the bin onto the belt, sir.
Oh, hi. I've got something for you. A rose. Oh, thank you. Bonjour. Bonsoir.
This Valentine's soft moment, I definitely want more of a dewy skin look. Dewy. I know that's strange coming from me. So I'm gonna be using the Becca Cosmetics.
Hey guys, Dan here, and today we're doing something really, really special. We've got our very own live show, which we're performing tonight, and this is our dressing room.
We've got an idea, and we're not sure if it's a good one.
Ready, go, go, go! Ooh, you found one? Nice. What else, what else? 2.
Now, Snowball Fights, one of the best things about winter, but in one small town, they've been banned for 100 years, until now. A 9-year-old called Dane Best went to the town council to overturn the ban. He argued successfully that Snowball Fights helped kids get exercise and that banning them was preventing them from doing so.
Years ago, today's kids need reasons to play outside. Research suggests that a lack of exposure to the outdoors can lead to obesity, ADHD, anxiety, and depression. Kids want to have snowball fights without breaking the law.
It started out as a little town of Severance, 6,000 people, and it was supposed to be a quick meeting or two and, talk to the mayor and talk to the trustees. And then now it's getting interviewed by every news station in the state and picked up by, other newspapers in the country. They're calling for interviews. It's pretty crazy. We're proud of them.
Snowball effect, I guess.
Some lols from a mum. Now, the next picture confirms for many that dog really is man's best friend. A picture of Sully, the late President Bush's dog, lying by his coffin has become a poignant viral moment as people remember the death of the 41st president. Well, Sully will now go back to the organisation America's Vet Dogs. He's a trained support and companionship animal, and apparently his training includes 2 pages of commands that he can perform, including answering the phone. Well, that's your lot from the NewsFeed team. Reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints, and suggestions. I'm at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on Twitter and YouTube. Follow, subscribe, and add. See you again tomorrow.